8 adults and 7 children aged between 1 year and 15, 1 year and 15 years. And again, we have 7 people who have been injured, and all of them have been taken to Moro Sub-County Hospital, where they are being treated. Others, about 38 of them, escaped with minor injuries, and they have been treated. They have been checked by the Red Cross personnel, and they are well, they are stable. And those who have been at the hospital, they have been managed by the medical staff who are there between 1 year and 15 years, and those that we have lost. And among the children, we have 5 of them were girls and 2 of them were boys. Ilikuwa natoka Kampala ikielekea Nairobi, na alafu matatu ilikuwa natoka Nairobi ikielekea Eldoret. Ya kwanza tunataka kuambia madriver, hii area tuko nayo hapa ni area ambayo iko na milima sana, kwa hivyo ni black spot area. Kwa hivyo wakati wanakuja katika eneo hili tu wajaribu kuwa waangalifu, and then tunaweza kuelezea tena wasibebe watu kupita kiasi, na bado waendelee kuangalia speed ya magari zao wakati wanaendesha magari, waendesha kwa kasi ya polepole. Kwa saa hizi tuweza kusema ni kitu gani ilifanyika. Shauri hatuweza kupatana na driver wa hiyo bus, ndio tuweze, because shauri ile driver wa matatu aliweza kupoteza maisha. Driver wa bus hatujaweza kumpata kwa dakika hii. Kwa hivyo hatuwezi sema exactly ni kitu gani ilifanyika mpaka, lakini uchunguzi tumeanzisha uchunguzi na tutaanza kupeana ripoti baada ya uchunguzi kukamilika.
Majina naitwa Samson Kemboi. Ajali ilifanyika mwendo wa saa 8:30. Na mimi hata nilikuwa nishalala, na nilala around saa 7. So nilikuja kuamshwa na rafiki yangu, tukakuja mbio tukawasaidia walioumia na tukawakimbisha hospitali, even though unfortunately almost watu wote wenye walikuwa kwa kanisa na wameumia. Yani ilikuwa tu fatal accident.
Well, quite unfortunate, and we do condole with the families that have lost their loved ones. About 15 people, 8 adults and 7 children, quite a huge number. And of course, separate accidents that have brought the death toll to more than 20. We can only hope that authorities will be up and about to ensure that we reduce the number of road carnages, especially within this new year. Elsewhere, members of the National Parliament have held a session with the press in Nairobi to complain of the delay in the allocation of the development fund for the parliamentary areas, what is called the Constituency Development Fund. The MPs claim that the delay in the allotment has disrupted activities in their constituencies because students have already returned to school for the first term. The MPs have also asked the government to release those funds because many students are stuck due to lack of funding.
Single constituency has received a single cent of the NGCDF funds. None of us here have received no single member of parliament. By now, CDF allocation should be 35% of the, on bursaries, should be 35% of the CDF allocation, which translates to about 18.5 billion. No single cent has been disbursed in this respect, with the consequence that there are many pupils and students who are stranded all over this country. As we speak, CDF allocation for the year should be 63 billion shillings. Because we are in the 3rd quarter, by now we should have received at least 75% of this money, which translates to just about 46 billion. To date, as of this date, no single amount has been received, despite all sorts of utterances that you may have heard elsewhere. So these false statements lead citizens to think that MPs have received money and they are sitting on it. We want to make it clear that we have not received it, and we urge the government to immediately release this entire amount of CDS allocation that we ought to have received. It is also important to note that by last year, through our speaker, the government gave commitment that CDF funds will have been fully released by 20th of December. And there was an official communication by our speaker to that effect. It is clear that they misled our speaker, they misled the National Assembly, and they misled the people. And that's unfortunate. Secondly,
now, President William Ruto has said that the agenda that his government of Kenya Kwanza has placed aims to improve employment opportunities among youths in the country. Speaking in Kapsusa, Uasin Gishu County, when he was launching the affordable housing project, the head of state did not hesitate to slam a lot of leaders who are going to courts against some of his government's agenda, as he asked leaders to have mercy and care for low-class Kenyans. Ruto reiterated that he is ready to end corruption in the court and added that he will not disregard the court like the past government of former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and has promised to be the lawyer of hustlers in court.
Wewe uko na kazi, uko na mapato. Unachukua pesa yako, unapeleka kotini, unaenda unanunua wakili, unaenda unaongana kule kwa mahakama. Ati alafu mimi wanataka ninyamaze. Mimi nataka niwaulize. Mimi siiko kwenye katiba ya Kenya kwamba tuendelee na hii kazi. Si tulienda kwenye uchaguzi. Si mukapiga kura manifesto yenye iko na hii kazi. Si mimi nilienda bunge. Si bunge ikapitisha sheria ya kufanya hii kazi. Hii kazi itasimama ama itaendelea? Hii kazi itasimama ama itaendelea? Mimi nataka niwaambie wale wako kotini na watusikie mapema. Wale watu wameenda kotini, mimi nataka nikuzungumze na wao. Nyinyi ambao muko kotini muko na kazi. Watoto wenu wako na kazi. Nyinyi hamujawahi kulala njaa. Nyinyi hamujapiga lami mpaka kiatu ikakatika kwa sababu unatafuta kazi. Alafu unaenda kotini, unanunua wakili, unapeleka kotini, unaongana ati hii kazi isimame, hawa watoto wa Kenya wengine wakae bila ajira. Mimi nataka niwaambie, hawa watu wako na Mungu na wako na mimi. Tutapambana na nyinyi. Sasa mimi nataka niwaambie nyinyi ambao Mungu kotini mnataka kusimamisha hii kazi. Please, tafadhali, kuweni na utu. Kuweni na ubinadamu. Nyinyi mko na kazi. Watoto wenu wako na kazi. Hawa watoto wa mama mboga na mahasla hawana kazi. Na mimi ni wakili wao. Na mimi siwezi kuongana kotini. Badala ya kuongana kotini, tutamaliza ufisadi kotini. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Ati kuna watu wengine wananiambia ati kwa sababu ile serikali ilipita ati walikuwa na budget ya kuongana kotini. Ati mimi niende nitengeneze budget ya kuongana kotini. Mnataka ati pesa yenu itumike ati kuongana kotini? Hakuna. Hiyo kazi haiwezi bwana, haiwezekani. Hakuna budget itatengenezwa ya kuhonga mtu yoyote kotini. Badala ya kuungana kotini, sisi tutamaliza ufisadi kotini. Kwa sababu kotini is supposed to serve the people of Kenya. Mahakama ni wafanyikazi wa wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Ni kweli ama si kweli?
The government, through Kilifi County Commissioner Josephat Biwott, has announced that it will start the construction of a project of 10,000 affordable houses in Kilifi County. Addressing the press after a session with some of the county government officials, Biwott said that the national government has already identified 4 sites for the implementation of the first phase of the affordable housing project in Kilifi County. The areas are Tezo, Kibarani and Bofa in Kilifi North constituency, as well as Sahali in Malindi constituency.
Kilifi County tuko na 11 proposed sites ya affordable housing. And then from this 11, leo tumekaa kama committee, tume-identify 4 sites which by Tuesday next week tunaanza ku-advertise.
Kuna baadhi ya sehemu ambazo zilikuwa zimetambuliwa hapo nyuma na tumekuwa tukishirikiana na serikali ya kitaifa na wahusika wale technical officers kutayarisha kwamba ziwe tayari, lakini kidogo tukachelewa. Ndio posa leo tumekuwa na mkutano huu muhimu kuweza kumaliza zile sehemu ambazo zilikuwa kidogo zimebakia nyuma, ili kwamba mradi huu uweze kuanza.
Sisi kama wanajua kali ama mafundi wa jua kali hapa Kilifi tumekwisha jipanga na tunangojea kwa hamu na gamu huu mradi, kwa maana mradi huu tumengoja kwa muda mrefu ili ukaweze kutufaidisha hasa wale mafundi wetu wa jua kali. Kwa hivyo huu mradi kwetu sisi ni kana kwamba umechelewa, lakini tunashukuru kwa kikao cha leo kimetupatia matumaini ya kwamba huu mradi utaenda kutekelezeka hapa Kilifi kwa muda mfupi unaokuja.
Now to KCSE celebrations, candidates for the Form 4 KCSE national exams received the results and continue to celebrate the results in different parts of the country. The following is a glimpse into the celebrations that have happened in various schools.
I got an A- here in Chuka Girls. I was a student here since 2020. The results were excellent for all the students. Through the help of our principal, Madam Joan Mushina, and the teachers, my class teacher, Mr. Cairo, my fellow students, and the whole staff, my parents as well. Thank you so much to God too.
Lochap hata Ruto ya nimepata leo habari. Kwanza siko nyumbani, nilikuwa nimetoka kidogo, then nikarudi sasa mali nilikuwa nikapigiwa, nimeambiwa results zimefika na nimetoka nimepata A.
Kwa majina naitwa Penina Chesangat Lochap. Ninashukuru Mungu hata ni firstborn wangu naitwa hata Ruto Lochap. Amekuwa akifanya vizuri kuanzia Town View ambaye alipata 404 na akaitwa Kabianga na results yake ilikuwa ikiendelea vizuri, hajawahi pata chini ya A. Hiyo ndio furaha yangu, na pia nashukuru yeye kwa sababu amekuwa ni kijana ni wa heshima sana, amekuwa akipenda kanisa sana,
na tunashukuru Mungu kwa sababu amejibu maombi yetu. Hatuna jambo la kusema kama familia, bali tunashukuru Mungu ando ni mahali alipo saa hizi. Ninajua tu ni furaha tu ndio imemaliza mahali penye yako, lakini sisi kama familia tuko hapa tukishukuru Mungu sana kwa ajili ya kupita kwa huyu mtoto. Ameweza kupata A, clean A. Tunashukuru Mungu. Tunashukuru Mungu sana.
I believe in a dream. Hii imetuonesha kwamba Sakas tuko mbele mbele.
Today we are very happy for the results that we have attained. I mean over 8.2, which is an improvement from 7.9 of last year. This year we're really happy because we've managed to attain 15 A's, 2 A con and 13 A minus. Last year we only had 4 A's, that is A minus.
Siri yangu ya kupita mtihani ni maombi kwa wingi na uwe na uhusiano mwema na walimu wako waweze kukusaidia kwa sababu wao ndio wanajua hii safari.
All right, so let's get to the newspapers to understand what is making headlines. We've got the Daily Nation, the Standard, and the Star. And remember, we still continue to receive reports about, who scored what in the just concluded KCSE 2023 examinations. And the results, of course, from different schools continue to stream in. So that is what has made it to the top of the pages of the local dailies. We'll begin off with the Daily Nation that speaks about small, in quotes, schools that fell giants. Small schools that fell giants. New kids on the block, topping the charts in national exams, has often been a preserve of an elite club of big schools with a long history of excellent performance, but not anymore. A new crop of little-known institutions is out to shake up the old order and stake their claim to space at the top. So basically what the headlines are trying to say is that, some schools which have over the years not really been referred to as top schools or the big schools or giant schools in the Republic of Kenya are now coming up to trounce the big schools. Now, KCSE 2023 Embu Day School sends 49 of its 79 candidates to university in exams fit. 49 of 79, basically 30 students didn't make it to university, and this is a day school. And the celebrations here continue. Top of the page is Eshibanza Muslim Secondary School. What you're seeing here is Eshibanza Muslim Secondary School teachers, parents and friends who celebrate with the top student Nyangweso Eastern Baraka and Oyuyo Anwar Musa at the school in Matungu, Kakamega County. So I'd love to give you an order of the top schools nationally, so that it gives you a picture of whether there's the small school that we're talking about and some of the big schools. And this includes Kabarak High School that recorded a mean of 10.43, Mudasa Academy in Vihiga that recorded 10.4. We've got Kapsabet Boys High School with 10.2, Light Academy in Mombasa 10.2, Strathmore School, Kenya High School. We've got the Chemelil Sugar Academy, Alliance Girls High School, Kisima Mixed Secondary School. So that's one of the schools that are being called, you know, in quote, the small schools that have fallen giants. We've got also Kiage Tumaini Boys High School, Alliance High School that recorded a mean of 9.5, perhaps not performing as expected with a mean of 9.5. We've got Miranda High with a mean of 9.5 as well. Lelwak Boys, Maseno School, Loreto High School, Limuru, St. Teresa Mboni Girls High School, Starehe Boys Center, Moi Girls High School, Eldoret, and Sheikh Khalifa Secondary. So those are some of the top schools that led in this year's examination. Also, what we are looking at is when technology failed exams agency yet again. Students, parents, and schools were on Monday thrown into confusion when they received conflicting results of the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education from the website of the examinations body. There were a bit of complaints here and there about some of the grades that were scored. Also, top of the page, we're talking about speeding to blame for crash that claimed 15 lives, says witnesses. Speeding is to be blamed for the crash that claimed 15 lives in that Tuesday 2:45 a.m. accident along the Eldoret-Nakuru highway at the Twin Bridge. Now, according to witnesses, who say the scene of the yesterday morning's accident, which claimed 15 lives, has been described as straight from a horror movie. According to preliminary reports, the driver of the matatu was speeding and overtaking prior to the accident. It is alleged that the driver was competing with another driver, and this of course involved the Northways shuttle matatu and a classic coach of Congo that led to all the lives within that matatu lost in that accident. Quite tragic. And these are what perhaps the NTSA keep on talking about. Where are you rushing to? Why would you compete with another matatu to end in such a tragedy? Also, MPs in threat to impeach Ndungu over CDF delays. You've listened to some of the members of parliament who spoke a little bit earlier, as well as 6 students stuck in India, as Edu Afya cover dries up for 2 months. Topista, her daughter Rachel, and her son have been in India to seek medical attention at the Sona International Hospital, and she was assured that Edu Afya medical scheme will cater for her treatment cost, but she is now in distress as she is stuck in India. Now let's take a look at a different newspaper, to the Standard. Dreams of champions, Cream de la Cream. Now, top students in last year's Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination reveal the secret to their success and also their aspirations as they prepare to join institutions of higher learning locally and abroad to pursue dreams, careers with medicine and engineering, topping their performances. So dreams of champions and some of what they want to be now that they're basically grown up and they would love to choose a career of their choice. So top students in last year's Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education reveal their secrets to their success and also their aspirations as they prepare to join institutions of higher learning locally and abroad to pursue dream careers with medicine and engineering, topping their preferences. So you've got the top candidates here. You've got an example of Larry Mule of Moi Kabarak, who scored an A of 82 points and says, I would like to pursue medicine at the University of Nairobi or at Moi University. I used to sleep early at around 10 p.m. and take morning preps as early as 3 a.m. with the school allowing based on preferences. So Larry Mule of Moi Kabarak wants to pursue medicine. You've got John Mark Olum of Nyambaria High School, who scored an A of 84 points, who wants to be a surgeon and wants to train at Harvard University. Says, I have already conquered Kenya. I now want to conquer the world by studying in the best university in the world and even emerge the best. Well, quite big ambitions there, and we do hope he can achieve them as well. Camila Jebet Cheruyot of Kenya High says her dream has to be serving humanity, and this is an opportunity to walk the talk on curing cancer patients in her village. Most likely wants to be an oncologist, that is a doctor that specifically deals with cancer. We've got Griffins Makari of Lenana, who scored an A-plane, says good results call for hard work and commitment. Better planning was key. I was studying to compensate for any time lost while in the field engaging in co-curricular activities, and it paid off. You've also got Lewis Githinji, 18 years of age, from Kagumo High, who says the weight and standard I put on myself almost crushed me, but I tried my best. Now I want to pursue a career in medicine at the University of Nairobi. You've also got Esther Nyakwea from Alliance Girls High School, who says wants to pursue energy engineering at the Kenyatta University, a passion that she has had since primary school. Neema Toigat of Moi Kabarak says she's grateful to God and she would like to pursue medicine and surgery at the University of Nairobi. Then Abdallah Issa Timami, who by the way is the son to the governor Issa Timami, and says he was good at maths and sciences and would like to take after his father, possibly take footsteps into politics as well. So top students, dreams of champions, majority of them want to join Kenya universities and pursue different courses, particularly in medicine and in engineering, and we can only wish them the best as they continue with their adventure. Now, top of the page, a bit on politics. I'm in the 2027 race and I'm kicking off campaigns, Kalonzo Musyoka says. And by the way, he says he's quite the rival for the president, William Ruto, come 2027. Circles to pay levies as well as top stars lineup for 2024 show. The AFCON, African Cup of Nations, kicks off this Sunday. Top stars, Sadio Mane, Victor Osimhen, Nicholas Jackson. I could go on just the African stars that will be looking to conquer Africa and be crowned the African champions yet again. The reigning champions, by the way, are Senegal, so that is a team to definitely look out for. Now let's go to the Star newspaper this morning and take a look at what the headline is and what is being said in the newspapers. Murder. Is Mwangaza victim of police probe? Meru governor and her husband have denied involvement in the sniper's death. So, is Mwangaza a victim of police probe? 9 of the governor's close associates, including the brother, are in lawful custody. Not just the brother, but also I believe the driver and the personal assistant as well, as Meru governor and her husband have denied involvement in sniper's death. So to give you a little bit more context about this, let's listen into a report about the DCI raid that happened at her residence on Saturday, where the DCI have said that is one of the crime scenes that they'll be looking to investigate on exactly what happened to the Meru sniper. Let's listen in. Detectives investigating the murder of Daniel Muthiani, a blogger, today pitched camp at Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza's residence, and the late Muthiani, also known as Sniper, is said to have been lured to his death by people who had promised to help him meet the governor.
Conducting an investigation into a murder.
So far, 6 suspects, including the governor's brother, driver, and a protocol officer, have been arrested in connection to the murder. On Friday evening, Governor Mwangaza said investigators were yet to ask for the resident's footage, despite allegations that the deceased was there before his disappearance. The team that was led by Regional Criminal Investigations Officer Lenny Kisaka said that the governor's official residence is one of the several crime scenes that they will camp to gather some relevant evidence.
Come here, behind us you can see that the residence of the governor, Meru County, and it's just part of the many other places that the team is visiting. So it's a continuous process that we are looking through the process of collecting whatever that is relevant to the matter that we are investigating. And we thought that we bring on board the county secretary, who is a senior government officer, to assist us coordinate investigations in this county, because some of the areas we are interested in, he's the one who can assist us.
Although the governor, Kawira Mwangaza, is believed to be not in the premises, DCI says they were accompanied by the county secretary.
And we want to tell the public that the investigations are at a very advanced stage. So in case there is anything that will be coming up which is tangible, we'll still be relying on the media to convey the message to the public. So I want to assure you that the investigations are at a very advanced stage, and we believe that justice to that family will be very, very important to the nation of this country, to the nation called Kenya.
Meru blogger Sniper disappeared on December 2nd and his body was discovered on December 16th, 2023. A post-mortem examination conducted on the body of the deceased at the Marimanti Level 4 Hospital mortuary in Tharaka Nithi revealed that he died of strangulation. Government pathologist Johansen Oduor, who conducted the examination, said Sniper had marks on his neck and exhibited signs of a person who had lacked oxygen. He also had fractured ribs and showed injuries on his head, which suggested that he was strangled before being thrown into a river.
So I want to assure the public that investigations are very focused on the evidence that will lead us to a court of law. So let's be focused.
Right, so the events of that, what you've watched is what happened on Saturday as DCI raided the office of Mwangaza in conjunction of, is Mwangaza a victim of a police probe, as 9 associates of the governor, including her brother, are in lawful custody. So Sniper is a Meru blogger who died in December, or whose body was found mutilated, and the police are investigating what exactly happened. So that has got something to do with the Star, and as well as Ruto. I'll never bribe judges for favorable court decisions, says, unlike the previous government, he's got no money set aside to bribe judges. However, he says those who keep on taking cases to court are against the wish of the people and the will of the people. So those are the headlines on the newspapers this morning. All right, so it is about 31 minutes past the hour mark. We'd love to take a quick breather, but when we come back, we'll be listening into an interview on matters finances. Now, due to public demand, we have had your requests, and we'll be, retaking this interview just for you to be able to organize and plan on your finances in 2024. So that interview coming up next after this break. Stay with us.
Hello, praise the Lord. My name is Pastor Joseph Musajawaza of Unfailing Love Ministries. I'm inviting you every Wednesday to join us on our program, Victory Through the Word. In this program, we teach you God's Word. we teach you to find solutions and answers to the struggles of life through the Word of God. Everything you ever go through in life, every pain, every tear, every worry, and every questions that you may ever have in this life, you may not get answers out there, but in God's Word, there are answers and there is a solution. The Bible says that God has exalted His Word above His name. In His Word, there is hope. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but His Word will always remain abide. I encourage you, engage with us as we study together, as you ask your questions, and let your questions be answered as you are built and as you hear God's Word. Our church is located in Umoja, Inako, near Olobon Hotel, just off Sango Stage along Moi Drive, and the court is known as Church Court. Give us a visit and your life will not remain the same. God bless you. Let's meet every Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. only on EBN television.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Good morning, welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. You are watching Morning Live, and we'd love to get into an interesting conversation that basically revolves around your money, or at least your finances, and particularly this is a new year. Every new year when it starts, you've set resolutions and goals that you'd love to achieve. So how do we do that? How simple should it be for you to achieve that? That is the conversation that we want to have this morning. My guest is in studio, Dorcas Wangoi, a financial coach. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you, Cynthia.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
I hope it's not too late for that.
It isn't.
All right. So it's just, the 9th day of January. It's a new year. Yeah. And a lot of people, every new year, they set their targets or at least what they want to achieve. Yeah. And majority of those targets or goals will involve money. Yeah. And money is such a big aspect because, it's at the center of everything that you'd call perhaps success in life. Yeah. And something that will be at the center of it is budgeting and just organizing that income that they have, right? Yeah. So first of all, perhaps we should start with, is it okay for them to have these resolutions in the new year, or should it be something that they've always planned over the years for a long time?
Thank you once again, Cynthia, for having me.
Yeah.
January is such a, I would call it thoughtful season. Actually begins in December, where we look back to the previous year and to the new year. And I like quoting from the Bible. The Bible says that money answereth all things.
Yeah.
So like you rightly said, or most of the resolution, almost all, probably very few of our life is not touched by finances. Yeah. So the more successful you are financially, the more successful you are in life. So it's not something we can downplay. It's actually a very huge role towards our success for the year.
Yeah.
So have we set goals? And I don't want to assume that everyone knows what goals they should be setting. For many years myself, I really used to get stressed when the year was beginning because I didn't know what these goals are.
Yes.
So it's important that I mention some of the areas, then we narrow down to finances.
Yeah.
So it's important that you set goals around your physical being, and that is your health. Set goals. So when we talk about the physical goal, it comes in how do you exercise, how do you eat, and all that. Because now this body is the one that is going to to do the rest.
That needs to be taken care of.
Yeah, it's good to set goals around your spiritual being. And I think I should have begun there first. We are all spiritual beings, and to the extent to which you are doing right with your God, it really defines a lot of success in life. So those goals, again, number 2 should be set. You should, number 3, set goals around your social goals, because we are relational beings and our success mostly depends on good relations. And here I mean relations with your children, with your parents, with your siblings, with your workmates, and even strategic relationships, like the relationship that means something to your career. It's also good to set goals around your career, and we are all in different stages in life. So there are people who are in school, and now your goals should align to your realities at whatever stage you are in life. I can go on and on and on and on, but now again, number 5, they are financial goals, and we have just said that this defines to a great extent what you are able to do this year. Are you able to meet all your basic needs? Are you able to have leisure? Because leisure is also another goal that we set. How will you recreate this year? So we will get deeper into these finances, so that because even your spiritual life can be affected by your finances. Because as you can see, even family issues, most of them emanate from the place of money. So let's go down and now understand what goals are we setting. Again, I refer to the good book. The Bible says that where there is no vision, people cast restraint. We restrain ourselves because we have a goal. If there is nowhere you're going, then there's no need to hurry. So we restrain ourselves based on the goals that we put, and at this point we want to ask ourselves, around which areas are we going to set our financial goals, so that it doesn't look finances, this big thing, these very scary things. And I want to be very simple and say that when we talk about money, we are talking about 3 things, basically. We are talking about how you'll make money. We are talking about how you will preserve money, that money that you have made.
You've made.
And number 3, we are talking about how you will grow money. If we understand these 3 things, now you have set all your financial goals. I want to get right into it and begin with where we are, each one of us is. There's someone who right now they have some money in their bank account, in some investments here and there. And we're also having someone who is listening to us this morning that doesn't even have that money, and they're wondering now, if you tell me about budgeting, what am I budgeting? I don't have a job, I don't have a business. So let's begin from where it begins. Income. How do you make money? So for all of us, the big question, which I feel like when we are making goals, we ignore it a lot, is how to make money and how to increase that money. Because you could be earning a salary of, let's say, 20,000. But when you draw up all the things you want to do, it's not, people will just, I coach, I do financial coaching, people tell me, I have exhausted everything. Well, actually, what are you telling me to save? So a bigger question when we are looking at finances is how do you make money? And how do you make more money? So it's important for everyone as we begin the year to look realistically at your life and ascertain how many sources of money do you have, and how many more, and what can you do to harness. Because sometimes the active income, for example, for an employee, the active income is their employment.
Yes.
It would do them more good if they invested more in that, rather than quickly going to which other side hustle can I make. You can upskill, you can negotiate better pays, you can move from one employer to another. Those strategic moves where you are seeing, like in this organization, I've gotten to the peak. So I would want to advise, first of all, a person who is employed to look into their active income, and not also only the employed person, even the person who is in business, because it would do me good for me to make sure that my coaching is working well and earning me more before I think of another side hustle there. So when you're setting goals around income, first of all, ask yourself, a realistic goal would be, I would want to increase my income from, let me say, like with 10%. Yeah. And I think I've gone too fast. I'll want to track back a bit. So let's keep the making money aside, so that I explain something in a nutshell, so that when we are talking about each one of these goals, it now makes sense to us. When we say, make goals, what are we saying? We don't want to assume that everyone knows, because many people have ended the year feeling very disappointed about themselves, because do you know what goals they reach? Make more money, live more comfortably, pay debts. But goals must be, they have a threshold, and the threshold of goals is SMART. That's why nimerudi nyuma, so that we pick everyone, so that no one is saying, now that income goal, how will I make it? The goals must be SMART. And by SMART, we mean that a goal must be specific. Now I'll be able now to give a specific goal in terms of income. A specific goal would be that last year I made 20,000 per month. A specific goal would be, this year I want to make 30,000 per month. Now that is specific. It should be something not vague. You know, better can be anything. More can be anything. Yeah. But specific goals means they are quantifiable goals that you can say, or if you're in business, I would want to do 10% more sales, my turnovers, and that means looking back at last year, because we don't set goals from the blues. We come from somewhere. We come from a reality. You can say that last year, the whole year, I didn't have an income, a source of income. Now I want to begin from at least making 5,000 per month. Now that is specific. The measurable part, specific and measurable. Measurable ni ipimike, like we are saying, see more, see all.
You can quantify it.
Yeah, specific, measurable, attainable. Again, your goal should not be something. Unajua kuna vitu zingine siwa
ununua gari.
Na ukiangalia mahali huko, and I know God is a miracle worker. I totally believe in him. But when we are setting goals, we are setting goals that are for us. Yes, we will achieve them with the help of God. But there is something you can write honestly from the depth of your heart. You know, you are very sure that you are not able to do. It's not attainable. So it derails you. It removes energy from you. So all goals that we set around finances should be attainable. So if you are making 100,000, maybe an attainable goal should be 20 more. If you are making 10, probably an attainable will be 5 more or 2 more, so that you have the energy to begin. So I've done specific, measurable, attainable, realistic. Realistic ni kama tu zinatie into each other. Realistic vitu tu zenye unajua clearly. If you haven't bought land now, and you are saying that by the end of the year you want to have done a flat, it's not realistic. Even pregnancy is 9 months. There's no way you're telling us in June that I have a child this year, unless clearly. So goals also financially should be realistic.
Yeah.
And finally, time bound. And with time bound, as I'll explain as I continue, we'll want to break those goals into shorter spans, like a month, so that you're able to look in January and say, well, I said I'll earn $1 million this year. And that million means divided by 12, it's this amount of money. And so those time-bound checks, it's time-bound in that we are setting a goal for the whole year, and it's time-bound in that we can break it into smaller chunks that we can keep on checking.
Yeah. All right, so I'd love to perhaps stick on the goals just a bit, because there's this common phrase that I've had a lot of people talk about, and they say, it's a new year, yes, but I'm still in the same house, I'm still in the same job, I'm still doing the same thing. The only thing that has changed is what I'm writing down on the calendar.
Yeah.
And that's perhaps one of the things that is a mentality on its own heading into a new year, because it does not motivate you enough to write down at least what you want to achieve, this specific and measurable goals that we're talking about. As we write those goals down, what is the mentality that we should be having? Should it be a question of, I'm still doing the same job, I've tried to talk to my employer, nothing is happening, so nothing is really changing? Is that how you should be writing down these goals?
I would have wanted to speak about it towards the end, but we can begin with it now that you have spoken. That the beginning of a new year doesn't really, honestly speaking, change anything. The days are the same. If you are coming to job at EBN, you're still coming to job here. And so what causes people to achieve goals, make them and achieve them? It is changing the person who is inside. It is the person who is, it is you that changes. Because if the person you were last year was able to make 100,000 every month, for example, what kind of a person do you need to be? So when we come to coaching, we will talk about all this that is in the outside, the goals that we are talking about, but it boils down to the kind of a person you are inside. That is what changes a year, and that is what changes your achievements. For example, if you look back and realize that the whole of last year you were lazy, and you don't change that attribute about yourself, you realize that the whole of last year you are a procrastinator, you realize that the whole of last year you are defiant at work, you realize that the whole of last year you are not keen in your business to keep records, you are not aggressive. Really, if you don't change the inner you, really nothing really much changes on the outside, even if you write the goals. And that's why we fail, because if the person who was doing this last year is still the same person who is doing this year, the results will be the same. So when we write these goals, there's a section at the end I had reserved to just teach us a few things about what changes the realities around us. So that just writing, just knowing is not enough. It is becoming. Realities in the outside, what we become comes out of who we really are inside. So it's a time to introspect and say that I had this business, nothing has changed. So what was I doing? Before we come to the other, because all great achievers are not blamers. They believe in that which happens to you is that which you work on. So towards the end, I may want to talk about a few things apart from the goals that help us achieve financial goals. And I can mention them in a nutshell. It is personal attributes, you as a person. And number 2, it is information. And number 3, it is the help of God. So you can remind me by forget. I'll revisit so that writing all these things makes sense. So I'll really touch on the three of them so that we are motivated to begin once again.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so many people perhaps have jolted down a few things that they want to achieve this year.
Yeah.
And, you know, as you said, you know, there has to be at least a certain timeline on, you know, when do you want to achieve it, or at least by when do you want to achieve these goals that you set in the year 2024. And the big question is always, how soon do you start working on your goals? Because people will jot down and say, oh, nangoja Januari ishe, ama kuanzia mwezi wa 3 ndio nataka nifanye hii na hii. So how soon should you start working on these financial goals that you've set down?
Right away. Right away.
As soon as you're done, right?
Right away.
Yeah.
You know why I say that? Time is like a river. You don't touch the same water twice. If you stand here and the river is passing and touch the water you touch next is not the same water. That water has passed. So it's important to have goals set and begin immediately and begin small. Because why do we postpone? I've been trying to understand why people procrastinate and say, I'll do this tomorrow, I'll do this in February. And I've seen two reasons. One is because we want to take big steps. I don't know whether you have ever seen the scene that car radar where someone has done small steps and another one very big steps. And while this one who does very big steps is still figuring out how to
take the next jump.
The next jump. The one who has small ones has gone further. So an attitude we should take in financial goals is beginning small, just small. Like every day tell yourself, in line with my income goal of making 100,000, what have I done? And sometimes it's not even much, it is actually waking up more focused, committing more to your work, doing more, because it is these small things that culminate that culminate into the goal that we set. So when do we start working on these goals before we revisit them? Right away. And we begin by doing small things. I think I like giving examples with my life. Sometimes it's even in how we maintain relations. At the end of the year, I come for shows like these. I go to schools, I speak in organizations, I speak in churches. So I'm giving these examples so that you see it's a small thing. So towards the end of the year, I said, I may not do much, but let me just write a thank you note to every one of these people who invite me. And I have my goals in my mind. But that in itself, just a little thank you note, has given me several appointments here and there. So even the finances, at times it's you sitting and asking yourself, really, how will I achieve this? And what is the smallest, the most basic step that I can take? Sometimes it's just doing a phone call. Sometimes it's just checking a website. Sometimes it's very, very, very small things. So we begin small and we begin now.
Now, as you've said, beginning small, so which basically will involve budgeting. You specifically know what your source of income is. So now, how do we begin the budgeting so that it also fits, because we're living in an era where we need the money to use here and there. So how do we now fit this money and budget it in such a way that it fits the goals that we have set? And perhaps at this point we'll give examples of, if you've set a particular goal and this is your salary, how do you now budget it so that at the end of the day you're not going to suffer or going to live beyond your means in the name of, I must do this by August. But at the same time, you're also suffering as of now. So how do we now involve how do we make this budgeting smooth and in a way that we are living within our means?
Thank you, Cynthia. You just taken me. I don't want to lose the track of where we began. We said that we are simply talking about making money, preserving money, and growing money.
Growing money.
So you've moved me to preserving money. And what we mean by preserve is when you make your money, it's not wise to use the whole of it. I'll say that money is threefold. Every money that you get, even today, it's threefold. Money is every money you get is for the past, is for the present, and for the future.
Yeah.
So by the time we are saying you are poor or your wealth is not growing, then there's an equation you're not doing right in dividing the money into the three spaces, the three timelines, the past, the present, and the future. That brings us now to the question of budgeting that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'll give the examples of the past. By the time you are getting your income, there are bills that you have already incurred. That money belongs to the past. So you pay. There's money that even when you receive your pay today or you do business today, you may need transport today, food today. So that money again is for today.
Present.
Then there's money which most people have used today that is for the future. And if we don't take care of that, then the future suffers. So what is budgeting? A good question. Budgeting is telling your money where to go. Simple. All of it. Budgeting is not the car shopping list we do. It's not. And that's where we go wrong. Budgeting is actually looking and saying, realistically speaking, on the 30th of this March, the March money that will come into my hand is 50,000. Telling every coin prior, not after, not figuring out where it went. It is looking forward and saying, this is where my money will go. So if we want to be successful, after we write the goals, all the goals, and I'll break them down, you tell your money that now you 10% you'll go into this. You 10% will go into this. You 50% will go into this. You, like the whole amount of money, and now we give room for miscellaneous and all that. So if you don't do that, you are bound to mostly eat into the future.
Yeah.
Because, well, there's no money that is too much. Otherwise, people would not still be grabbing properties and doing.
Yeah.
So if you don't inform your money prior, even if you get a salary rise, you'll change your outfit and change your car and change where you live. So, and I would like to help people whose salary is not defined, like business people. Wisdom is that you do it in percentages. Because there are people whose income is not equal all the months. Factors are changing here and there. So you can say this, that this year when I make money, 10%, if you're a believer like me, goes into tithe. Like 10% goes into giving. 20% goes into my savings. That already is at 40%. Then you say 50% goes into my recurrent expenditure, because I wouldn't advise anyone to live beyond 70%. It's wrong. It will get you into a ditch. Living beyond 70%.
So you do like calculations, 70% of what you're earning.
Yeah, you have figures. We said we are going to be specific this year. So let's say, for the sake of round figures, you are earning 10K.
Yeah.
Let's be simple, 10K. So we say that for me, 70% will go into all my expenses. And all your expenses, you need to write them down. It is food, it is transport, it is school fees,
rent,
it is rent, it is all those things that are unavoidable. And this is what I'll tell people, that there's no lifestyle that cannot be downgraded at whatever point. Your reality, if you look at your reality and realize that you not save anything, it is worthwhile to downgrade. It is worthwhile to be frugal with your spending. So decide 7,000. If 7,000 is all that I'm living with, then how much of this money goes into my rent? Then how much goes into my transport? Then how much goes into education? Then how much goes into all these expenses, water bills and all that, so that you are not living a lie. Because if you don't face that, then you are bound to say, oh, I have 10 kids, now I can live in a house worth 8,000. Then when you live in a house worth 8,000, what are you left with? 2,000. Is that money enough for school fees, for water, for electricity, and for everything? So people end up now living in debt because you are feeling the current need with what you don't have. You're already beyond. Actually spend 50% on recurrent expenditure, if possibly your target this year is debt. So that 20% again goes into repaying of debts. So our realities when it comes to finances are vary. They really vary. So I come back to your question. Then what happens to the 30%? I totally believe in giving, and it's a natural law that part of your income should go into giving. And some people will give tithes, some people will give to charitable organizations. We are all from different faiths. But the good book that we read and believe in says that a generous man will prosper. And he who refreshes others will be refreshed. So a certain percent, I'd give it a threshold of 10 to 20, should go into giving. And giving is all the, when I've been in employment for many years, we used to call them ghost workers. You work and other people are working. So this, and this is not, I'm not using it as a derogatory word, but there are people that when we are working, we pay. We pay them. It's automatic. Our parents, our siblings, you could be educating your siblings. And some needs, your grandmother, there. So that like 20% should fit everyone. So that mtu asikuitishe 5K and all that you have for that kitty is 3. So be realistic. Just tell yourself that all that I'll use for giving this month, this year, is this percent. So how do I divide it? Let people know, because especially most of the people who are in the urban settings, we put up a face. We go up country, so we put up, people think of us in a certain way. Realistically tell them that this is the amount of money that I'm able to give. So I'll give it 10 to 20 based on where you are. As another like 10 to 20. That's why I'm saying it varies. So word up zako zitoto ikue 100%. Iwezi kuwa 101.
Ikue to 100.
Ikue 100% should go into your savings. Because we said part of the money that you have is for the future. And allow me to talk about savings at this point. That the reasons why we save. Because Mimi, I used to have a problem with this saving thing. Because I save, put the money together, then go to the account, withdraw.
It saves you again.
It saves you immediately. It saves you immediately. So for you to be motivated enough to save, you need to know why you are saving. And we basically, I'll just give 3 reasons why we save. We save for emergencies. We save for short-term needs. Like this is what the kind of money we put into what we call a sinking fund. Short-term goals, like this year I know for sure I'll renew my car insurance. So it's a short-term goal, but sitaki nikiitishwa na insurance wanitisha a whole 50K. I want to put it pamoja. Then those short-term goals could be something like a vacation. It could be December expenses. So we say for such reasons. You say, kwa sababu niliona when December ilinipeleka last time, I want to have at least 12,000 to spend in December. It's easy. You can put 1,000 a month. That will not have a toll on you. I'm giving an example. So that now the short-term goal of having a comfortable holiday over Christmas is met. And some of these short-term goals can even be school fees. Instead of us waiting for April to be asked for a whole 20k, 100k, depending on how much you pay for school fees, you can chunk it and say, I have 4 months, January, February, March, and April itself, so that when the schools are opening in
you
May,
will have it already.
I'll have 20,000. So what do I need to do? Keep 5,555, and by the end of April, I'm having the 20, and I know I'm not having arrears in school. That's another reason why we save. So I come back to it again. One, we save for emergencies, and expert advice says that you should have 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses in an account.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you don't have, it's not too late, you can begin. And you can begin putting kidogo, build up that account, so that one time you look and say, I'm secure. If anything happened to my job, if anything happened to my business, I'm able to take care of my life. That's an emergency account. Number 2, we save for short-term needs. And number 3, we save for long-term needs. Long-term needs might be building that house, actually investing. We also save for investing, so that you have some money, ukiitiwa kabiashara mahali au kama katenda mahali, you know, long term, that this money is not to be spent, it is for growing. So I feel like I have exhausted the savings. So as early as now, decide how much you're going to save. Be very realistic, and if your income passes through an account, automate. Pesa it's very deceitful. Have what you call standing orders going to your, if it is your money market fund, or it's fixed deposit account, or somewhere that is mbali now, because the tendency is that if my child throws tantrums in the supermarket, I will reach out. So try to lock your accounts that are for savings, so that your objective is achieved. Where are we now?
Right, so we're almost done on savings. You know why we should save for emergencies, short-term needs, long-term needs, and also on matters investing. Now, so I believe that you've exhausted on budgeting as well? I return back to the model I gave you from the beginning, so we don't lose anyone. So we said we will look, in our financial goals, we look at how we make money and how we make more. Then we said we will preserve money. That's where we are saying you budget, so that you see where your money is going, and consistently look at your budget, like a month or 3 months, because realities change. Costs of living, especially in this country, and it's worldwide, are changing. So for you saying that you're sticking to a budget that was for January and December, it might not be realistic. So we will budget and revisit the budget over and over again. And now hapo kwa preserve, we said that we will put aside something, and I have actually explained why we put money aside, because some money belongs into the future. Now I've had you transition already to grow. Because there are only 2 things that will happen to you to change your realities. You'll either reduce your expenses or increase your income. Hakuna njia ingine. Reduce or increase? Yeah, you are either reducing your expenses or increasing your income. And we have already dealt kidogo with the budgeting. It's a broad, I'm actually just mentioning, because it's a very broad topic that we can sit here for an hour and discuss budgeting. So where you look at that budget and see you need to reduce expenses, you reduce. But there are some people who, looking at us, watching, are saying, I've done it. I have done everything. I have actually reduced every expense, and still struggling. Still struggling. Now, here is where we are. That your goals again should be towards growing. To grow your money. Yeah, to grow your money. Na kidogo nirudi mali we began. When we said that you look at growing, before we think about side hustles and every other thing, first of all, look at how you can grow your active income. Invest in yourself. Grow your business.
look at it and have I done everything that I need to do to maximize the income that I'm having. Then from there, we are assuming that you have preserved something. Now let's ask ourselves, how does this little money that we've preserved this far give me another coin that I am not, like my money should help me get some more money? Because once you save, and we said you have saved for a long-term goal, and your long-term goal is investment, then we ask ourselves, where do we invest? Again, a very broad topic. Broad topic. I'll just touch that you can grow your income. Let's begin the basic things. Mwananchi wa kawaida, you can invest in a business. Now, a big caution that I want to give when talking about investment is the need for us to know, to understand what we are investing in. Because I see so many people excited, especially people who are 8 to 5, have a lot of time out here, and ask, oh, kuna fanya hii biashara, jump into it. And that way many people have lost a lot. You'd rather have your money saved in an account than jump into things that you have not figured out. So my advice prior, before I talk about the various ways you can invest your money, would be get enough information. Don't just jump into investments. Find out, invest information first, read books, get a coach, get a mentor, know, understand, go to the ground, because kuna watu wengi sana, they are, oh, I can get a loan, ya sako, ya 500, ya. So then they have the money, and now they're asking themselves, which what business, what did I do? That one is usually very destructive. You'll be left with an obligation and you'll not see results. So while we are approaching this one of growing money, one of the major things you need to do is to invest in understanding, so that you don't end up burning your fingers. These are some of the ways you can invest. You can invest in the capital markets. And in the capital markets, allow me to just mention 3, that you can invest in stocks. And if you want to invest in stocks, you must be very aggressive. Aggressive in knowing what stocks, ni shares gani, well, by stocks I mean shares, ni gani zina, which company is doing how. Because sometimes you buy stocks, only a company that is inaanguka. Au unaangalia tu kwa gazeti unaona how it's 3 bob, you buy. So you must be aggressive. Find out what are their dividends, what are their plans. So I would advise someone who is investing in stocks to be very aggressive and sure. And market savvy, and just understand the whole dynamics before you throw your money inside. Another way of investing, the capital investment, is in the government bonds and treasury bills. I mean, I keep on feeling like this is not well known, and it's a conversation I would want us to have, or just get an expert to speak to us, because there's too much money that is being that you can earn, and it's secure with bonds and T-bills. This is how it works in a nutshell. The government, part of the money that they are using, even for infrastructure, is money belonging to Kenyans, and they don't fail to pay the dues. So it is one of the most stable investments. So I would urge our viewers to find out more. With stocks, you open an account with stock brokers, and most of the banks are stock brokers, Cooperative Bank, Equity Bank, most of the banks and other brokers. Find out, get a good broker, open a CDS account. For bonds and T-bills, you open an account with CBK. Na najuanga watu wengi wanafikirianga hapo CBK is for, but there is a place for the public. You can walk in, open an account so that you are able to buy 3 months T-bills, bonds, and all that. So again, that is a very lucrative area that most Kenyans don't invest in. But Asians, they do a lot of it. And number 3 is mutual funds. Hizi vitu tunaita money market, and again we'll have chances when time comes to understand them.
What money market is.
Yeah. So there are a lot of like insurance companies, even banks that have mutual funds where you put your money and it grows at a certain interest.
Right. Yeah.
So that is just one of the way. Instead of leaving your money lying in accounts, I've been a banker for many years, to say 10 plus. And I've seen people leave huge amount of money in accounts that are not earning anything. Every time you leave your money in an account, you're actually losing, because inflation inapanda. So if you leave 1,000 today and come for 1,000 next month, that the value of that money is not the same. So you need to find out where is my money growing at a rate higher than the inflation rate.
Wow. Yeah.
You hear the way there's a lot of homework here. There's a lot of there's a lot of homework for us to do. So those 3 with time we can talk about more. So capital, you can invest in mutual funds, in stocks, and in government, T-bills and bonds. You can also invest in a business. And again, we say do your homework
on the kind of business you want to get.
Yeah, kind of business. Go to the ground, find out before you put all your money into it. You can invest in agriculture. In Kenya, food is basically not enough, to talk the truth, because we are still investing a lot of rice, a lot of sugar, so much.
Maize flour.
So if it is in your interest, again, invest in things that you're interested in. If you wouldn't want to see a cow every day, please.
It's not for you.
Yeah, it's not for you.
Yeah.
But farming, for those people who have been able to get into it seriously, they are really making a lot of money. Invest in growing yourself, get a skill that you can be doing if you have the luxury of time. If time allows you, get an online hustle, something that you can be doing online, selling things online, merchandise. You know, I realize that we waste a lot of potential. If we were deliberate, really deliberate, you'd realize that wherever you go in your chamas, in your fellowships, in your social group, there's something that they need that you can sell. So I mean, those are just some of the ways that you can broadly grow your money. Real estate. If you have a plot, you can jenga hata twa mabati, begin somewhere. We said that the whole point is beginning from small. Beginning small.
Yeah. Right. And you know, Dorcas, there's so many aspects that you've been able to explain that clearly needs, more time, particularly on the investment, which is such a huge aspect that a lot of Kenyans are always wondering, what do I invest in? Or, what should I do? But due to time factor, I would love to talk on loans because this is also, or at least debt, because this is one of the biggest things that cripples a lot of households, whether it is necessary debts or unnecessary debts. So I'd love for you to speak on that in just a few minutes. We've got about 6 minutes to wrap it up. So if you could speak on the debts as well, or at least the loans, on, what is necessary loans or what are the necessary loans that people do take?
Wow, because time is well spent. Let me say that so that this is not just a talk, I would advise our viewer to make goals on these 5 areas so that I talk about debt. 1, income. I'll give an example that a goal on income can look like I want to earn 10% more than I earned last year. Number 2, savings. A goal in savings can look like I want to save 2,000 every month, which in total will be 24,000 every year. I am giving an example so that we don't leave them stranded wondering, all this talk, then how do I write goals? Or you can write something like I want my emergency to begin an emergency fund, and by the end of the year for it to have
this amount of
50,000. We said they must be specific. The other goal is budget. I want to write a budget and all my expenses will amount to this amount of money, and that I review my budget every 3 months. So far I've given 3. Another goal is I want to invest. And again, we are being specific and realistic. We are saying this year I want to open a CDS account. I want to invest shares. And at the end of the year, I want to have invested shares of 5,000. I want to buy 1 infrastructure bond. An infrastructure bond goes for 100,000. You know, I'm giving those examples so that we don't leave our viewers stranded. So we said we will make that goes on income. You can say earn 10% more and quantify it. Savings. This is how I'll save these amounts. What else did I say? Investment. So, and budgeting. So we come to debt. And because that's where it pains me. It really pains. Again, a huge topic, because most of us, almost all of us in this country have got a debt. Have a debt. And even our nation has a debt. So goals around debt, especially if you're already in debt, is to reduce debt. And so out of this income that we are making, a realistic goal would go like, I want to reduce my debt. Write down all your debts, look at them and say, I want to reduce my debts by this percentage. Or actually more specifically say, look at the debts that have greater interests. This is a SIMU especially. You say that by the end of the year, I don't want to have Fuliza, I don't want to have all these, the phone, reducing them. I want to have paid my credit card debt and draw a plan. Say that for every money that comes that is unplanned, you know, you'll get like a bonus here, you'll meet a friend, get those windfall gains. I'll put it into debt. So basically your goal around debt, if you're already in debt, should be to reduce debt and reduce debt realistically. There are 2 ways I would advise you to reduce debt. One is reducing the debts that have high interest rates. And number 2 is reducing the small debts. Because it makes you motivated. If I owe Sammy and Anthony and Grace, and because people owe people, it feels good for you to feel like I'm done with this one. Write them down and say that I'll begin with the small ones, because they are, that way you those gains, those wins make you feel I can do it.
I paid the 500.
I find the 500. I paid him the 200. I paid the hustler fund. You know, begin. So you can use either strategy, but bottom line is reduce debts, and we're reducing debts. Something that I feel like we don't talk about a lot. You cannot be reducing debt and adding debt.
Don't borrow to pay a debt.
Don't borrow again. If you are in a business of reducing debt this year, the reasons why you used to borrow, if probably you are overspending, or you are just getting into a shop and finding a nice dress, avoid them. Because there's a way you can do something. Ni kama kuweka tire pressure na imetoboka. So for you to deal with debt, you must also draw a line and say, from there, I'm not getting into any other debt. I will reduce these debts. Realistically, look at your budget, and a good chunk, if you're in debt of your income, possibly 20% can go into debt. Because you may not see the effect now. Sometimes debts, why people don't pay that, you feel like even if I pay 1,000, really, I've not done much. But if you paid that 1,000, probably you would be done by now. So I'd encourage people who are in debt to just realistically look at that debt, take any of the approaches. I made it simple. I don't want to bring in a lot of jargons here. Pay the small ones, or pay the ones with big, huge interest. Put aside a chunk of your income to pay debts.
Right. So as we wrap it up, I know you said I should remind you about personality changes and, you know, having access to information, and of course, most importantly is also, you know, putting God in all the plans. So as we wrap it up, and, you know, you can speak to them in a nutshell, how to organize your finances in the simplest, of ways, for someone who's just there and is watching or has just tuned in the simplest of ways. How should I organize my finances in 2024?
This is what I would say. Now, having talked this much and you having known what goals are for, I repeat that if you are the same person who you were last year and the year before, really nothing might change. But if you change the kind of a person you are, then you will achieve more. So look at yourself, because financial success is 3 factors put together. Human factors, yourself, information that you have access to, and the hand of God. So allow me to say that look at some of the qualities, your personal qualities that derailed you. Possibly it would be that you invest without caution. So you should be more diligent this year. Possibly it is just not doing enough, not being active, not just being lazy. So you change that and be more proactive. Say that every day I'll ask myself in the evening, what have I done towards earning my income? So look at your personal trait, because if you change you, then the outside changes. And that would also mean even your relations at work, because possibly that increment you need is just an act of submitting away in the office. So just decide that now I'm here, I'll subordinate, I'll honor my authorities. It could be being proactive, just sitting respectably with your bosses and saying, I feel like I'm not being given enough. So negotiating. So that is what I'm saying about the person you are inside. That goes a long way in the success that you get financially. Number 2, information. Like we have said in this conversation, is there's too much to learn. If you don't know their bonds, find out. Information is on the internet. If you don't know how you can invest in shares, find out. Get a coach. Find someone who can guide you. Get a mentor. Submit yourself. Learn. Read books. So that way, your mind broadens up to even opportunities, and you know how to grow your finances. Because it's unfortunate that so much of financial information is not taught in school. We are just taught you go
the real world.
Ukienda hapo you'll figure. And you know, we actually in school to learn. I feel like more should be done in our education system so that our children have a background on how money works. Lastly, you cannot downplay the role God plays in the success financially. So commit. The Bible says that commit all your ways to God and He will cause them to prosper. So even before you invest, talk to God. He is able to guide our steps. Listen to the intuition. Listen to the inner voice that guides you. Commit to God and honor the principles that God has put in place. Again, a huge topic of financial wellness. God has made a lot of promises helping the poor, supporting His work. Diligence, how we earn our money. So much is in God's word on how we make money for success. So don't downplay the role God plays in financial success. Pray about everything. Commit your projects to God and think, have that mind of godliness. You should try to earn your money the godly way.
All right. Thank you so much, Dorcas Wangui, a finance coach, for coming in this morning to just share on what you need to do, you need to know in the year 2024, even as you've set down those goals. So where do you start? By the way, it starts immediately after you finish writing. So you need to put up enough strategies, know what you're saving, know how much you're budgeting, know how much is going into the loans, how much is also going into supporting your family or your friends, and that will go in a long way to ensure that you're living within your means and not living beyond your means. So that has been the conversation this morning, how to organize your your finances in 2023, or at least your money, and you can rewatch this in case you've just joined us and you've missed this broadcast, or across our social media platforms. You'll be able to get more information on that. Or if you'd love to reach out to Dorcas, well, you can as well send us your SMS and the details of what you'd love to inquire about, and we'll be able to get in touch with Dorcas on your behalf. So thank you so much for watching. This is Morning Live. Coming up at the top of the hour is Your Faith Today with Reverend Felix Kavoi. So stay tuned to EBN TV. An amazing program lineup. It has got you covered throughout the day. Have yourself a wonderful morning.